square house on sweet tooth boxes, and I've decided to do it on some Christmas paper. So I'm now going to cut it out, and I will come back to you when I've cut it out. I've cut that out now, and I'm just going to take the paper off the mat. And you can see I actually welded this on my gypsy so that I could cut it out in one piece, and it's just because I've had it quite close to the edge, I'm going to have to just trim these, but these are the little tabs that fold in anyway, so that's what I decided to do. And I wanted to get the centres along the bottom of the house, and it looks like I've done just that. Hi again. I've now cut the pieces out to the little house on sweet tooth boxes. If I go back up here, this is the window frames. This is the grass, and I'm actually missing a piece because it's fluttered away. They are quite tiny pieces, so it pays to keep in touch with them. Now, this is the front and sides of the house, and I welded this on my gypsy. Now, I'm using paper, and I'm using Christmas paper because I'm going to do a Christmas one. And what I've done is I've cut the duplicate out of cardstock, and I'm going to join those together. One of the ideal things about this is you can get two things identical. Then over here, this is the frame that goes underneath the door, the frame that goes underneath the window, the little sweet sign, and the little flower that goes on top of the other flower that we've already cut. And because the sweet sign is cut in coloured paper, you can't see it terribly well, but I've just zoomed in on it there for you. And if we zoom back out, you'll see I've cut the roof, and again, because I've cut it in paper, I've actually cut one in cardstock, and I will layer that. What I've also done is I've used my gypsy, and I've cut extra edges that you'll see are scalloped, and you'll see shortly where I use these. Now I'm working on a bright pink silicone mat here. That is because I'm going to show you I'm gluing this. I'm using the Stampin' Up! Anywhere glue stick. What I find is that if I use the glue stick to glue the paper to the cardstock, not only does it stick, but I can use the Cricut scraper and get it on there, and it seems to stick really well, and it means I've got to line it up well too. It sticks really well, and you can just push it down with the scraper, and it fits really solidly onto the cardstock. There's no bubbles, and it doesn't stretch the paper, so I find that really good. Now, as I said, I did cut some extra little pieces out that were the scalloped edge of the roof, and what I do is I cut them a little bit shorter, and then I glue them onto the roof line in here, and it makes an eaves for the roof coming down. So I'm now going to glue those in, and I'll show you when it's done. You can see now how the top of the house has little eaves on the side, as well as the tip on the edges can also be folded down. The other thing about this is that you can put them over to one side and you can either cut or score with them over to the side, and that makes it very easy for cutting without having to take your actual blades in and out of the machine. Now I'm going to try this, but I've got to line it up, and I'm at a very weird angle just here. Now I can lock that in place so that the top doesn't come up, and just with my scoring tool go across there, and it worked. I love it when it works. Now line those up so that that's even there and that's even there. Lock it in place and just go across, and that makes it very easy for doing your scoring, because you can lift that up, you can line that up on the little lines that are in there, lock it down, and you know it's going to be in the right place. And so I'll finish doing this off. The other thing about this is that you can put them over to one side and you can either cut or score with them over to the side, and that makes it very easy for cutting without having to take your actual blades in and out of the machine. Now I'm going to try this, but I've got to line it up, and I'm at a very weird angle just here. Now I can lock that in place so that the top doesn't come up, and just with my scoring tool go across there, and it worked. I love it when it works. Now line those up so that that's even there and that's even there. Lock it in place and just go across, and that makes it very easy for doing your scoring, because you can lift that up, you can line that up on the little lines that are in there, lock it down, and you know it's going to be in the right place. And so I'll finish doing this off. I've cut a little piece of plastic. It's actually the wrapping from flowers, and I'm going to put this in behind the windows, between the windows and the window pieces that go on the outside, and I'll do that now. Now what I've done here is put double-sided tape on, and most of us use double-sided tape, I'm sure. I'm just showing you how the Cricut spoon tool, which I've explained in the Cricut tools, just lifts this up from the edge and makes it so much easier to get it off, especially if you've got either extra long fingernails or no fingernails at all. And it's going to prove me a liar. No, there it is again. And you can lift that up from the edges like that with this little tool. I've found it extremely helpful getting these little bits off, and it doesn't require me trying to get my fingernails underneath them. And I shall then stick this little bit of, I'm still not sure what it's called. It's like plastic, but it's not. Okay, bye. Now another thing when you're using double-sided tape, if you burnish it with your bone folder like this, just pressing it down really hard, you actually get a much better stick of your tape. And then of course you can lift it more readily, and you can see how that's sort of not quite lifting well. Even just take your spoon tool, press it down, and then it lifts away really easily. And that's just a little hint for your double-sided tape. Press it down and then hold it and lift it away with your spoon tool, and it comes away really easily. It makes working with double-sided tape and taking it off much easier. Now, I've nearly finished the little box. This is the front of it, and I'll take my finger out of the way. I've used extremely busy paper, and I've used a coloured paper for the grass and the flowers, so it's quite hard to differentiate it. You may be able to see that I tried to cut the door so that there was a little chicken on the door and a present on the top, but it's quite difficult to see because of the paper that I've used. And I cut it specifically so that the Santa Clauses were around it, and if I pick it up from this direction you may be able to see that I've got two little Santa Clauses centered at the back, which was quite good for me. You can see that I've put the spotted cellophane, is what that little clear plastic paper is, and it's got little white spots on it, and I thought the little white spots looked really cute, like it was snowing from the inside. The little eaves that I've put on it on this side, I really like to add those. I think it just makes it a little bit different. There is a little window piece up in here that when someone's examining the box it gives them just a little bit more to see, and you can see these little flowers around the bottom on this side. Now that will hold a cupcake or some little treat, and I think the Sweet Treat Boxes cartridge is absolutely awesome, and I hope you have fun making some. Well, when I thought I'd actually finished my Sweet Tooth box, I realised that I had not put the flower on the front, and I decided I wouldn't bother with that because of the busyness of it and because I've got the centres around it. But I also forgot that with this little box, if I zoom in, you can see that there's a little sign. Now that's probably not that clear, so I'll try and put a plain paper behind it so that you can see. Right, now I've got a piece of plain blue paper behind it, and there's a little sign. It's only small, but you can see I've put Forever Sweet on it, and when I zoom out you can see that there's the Sweet Tooth box, and it does look ever so cute. And I'll just turn them around again and you'll be able to see the other sides. And here you can actually see right through the box with its little snow in the windows, and that's the Sweet Tooth box from the side. Thanks for watching.